and welcome to MxM Live. We are here again with the leadership series, and today I have here with us Amit Akali. He is managing partner, founder, and creative head at What's Your Problem. Amit has been around in the business for a few decades, and he's worked with Enterprise Nexus, spent a fair amount of time at Ogilvy, being the national creative director and senior EVP at Grey, and uh, uh, some 6 years back, he started with What's Your Problem. He is also Chief Creative Officer at Medulla, which is, as we know, the award-winning agency on health communications. Welcome to MxM Live, Amit.
Hi, thanks everyone. Lovely to be here.
You know, I must confess to you, it's a little unfair that I'm speaking to you not because of the rapid strides that What's Your Problem is doing, but because of the fact that you are the newsmaker of the week in a sense. We all know what it's all about. It's the Tanishq ad that your agency crafted. It's an amazing ad. We have no doubt about it. And I know that there are sensitivities involved over here, so I'm not going to make it very long. But fact of the matter is that's what is my first question. What are your sentiments on the episodes of the last week?
I'd be surprised if you wouldn't have asked about the Tanishq ad. But that said, I think the unfairness there is honestly that people are even talking about just one ad, even when it comes to Tanishq, and that one ad is the Godbarai ad is actually part of a much larger conversation, so a much larger exercise. So just want to go back to that, and it actually starts about 2-3 years back. So to start with, I think Tanishq has always been a brand that has taken on larger conversations, so be it the extremely famous widow remarriage ad, which had a lot of conversation starting. And Tanishq is also a brand that's been doing a lot for the community beyond just making jewelry. So we also make steel is very, very true for Tanishq, and they've been doing a lot for their karigars. They've been doing a lot for the environment. They've been doing a lot for the employees, literally from opening, from running schools to hospitals to little cities to karigar parks, changing the way the karigars work. So about 2 years back, maybe 1.5 years back, we actually worked with the Tanishq team to create a campaign which is called Dua Ka Sona. And Dua Ka Sona actually came from the fact that when you buy Tanishq gold, because Tanishq helps the environment, Tanishq helps the karigars, Tanishq helps, their employees, Tanishq helps the people living around them, the ecosystem around them. You'll end up doing all that. So when you buy a piece of Tanishq gold, it's actually blessed by these people too, and it is therefore Dua Ka Sona. So this is a campaign that we've used to put out this side of Tanishq to the world. So Tanishq has been doing it for ages, but never really spoken about it. And when the COVID crisis started, when the lockdown started, they actually did a lot more for their karigars and a lot more for the communities around them. And we again restarted the conversation of Dua Ka Sona. So we had their whole campaign which was about Dua Ka Sona. Beyond that, we even the Raksha Bandhan campaign spoke about and celebrated sisters, sister to aakhir sister hoti hai, and spoke about nurses and sisters, and that was again a very popular campaign. So I think Tanishq has been very clear that they've been walking the talk in terms of actually doing things for the society during this time of crisis. So when it came down to the festive campaign, also they were again very clear that they wanted to take a stance. They were already doing good out there, but they wanted to take a stance, and that stance was actually Ekatvam. So Ekatvam is literally unity. It's ironic that a campaign based on unity actually divided the country, and a campaign based on love actually got a lot of hate. But our stance on literally this pandemic, this crisis, and this crisis is really beyond just health now, right? It's also an economic crisis. So our stance really was that the only way out of this crisis for us as a country is if we are together, and this is unique in that sense. So this is not something that I can get out on my own, because if I wear a mask and you don't, or if I maintain social distancing and you don't, if I'm locked down and you're not, if I buy Indian and you don't, as a nation, we won't really come out of it. So the only way we can come out of this crisis is really together, and that's where the term Ekatvam, Stance Ekatvam came from. And Tanishq being Tanishq had been, walking the talk. So literally the heart of this campaign was a collection Ekatvam, which was literally a collection which is almost historic for Tanishq. So Tanishq, if you look at the collections in the past, come from, each collection comes and highlights a different art form. But this collection was actually made up by karigars from across India, practicing art forms like Filgari and Jarao and etc. from across India, and they come together to make this one collection called Ekatvam. So that was actually the proof of the pudding, and all the advertising that we're doing is to speak about that one collection.
So this
So
ad that,
yeah.
that we are talking about, which was the disputed ad and which has been pulled out, is one of the series of Ekatvam ads, is it?
It's one of a series of more than 100 pieces of communication. So literally, so we've done ads that celebrate the art forms of India. So we've taken, because the collection actually celebrates the different jewelry making art forms. We've actually taken different artists from across India, studied the art forms that they've preserved, taken inspiration from them, and actually made paintings of women, obviously with Tanishq jewelry on them. So it's literally, the painting is a piece of art combined with photography of the jewelry, and so that's been going out as a full campaign. We've got actually 4 ads in this series, 2 of which are only released yet, and this wasn't even the first ad in the series. So the first ad was a beautiful story about a reunion. So all the entire campaign is taken from contexting on culture happening around us right now, contexting on the importance of unity, in the context of the crisis. So, for example, the first ad was a lovely story of this teacher who goes back to school and meets her kids for the first time after the lockdown. And how do they meet? How do they hug each other without really hugging each other? So that's a really emotional story, and so what we did was we literally brainstormed on 30 different stories, and then chose to make 4 of the most relevant ones as
I,
films.
I must confess to you, Amit, that I wasn't aware that, while we have received communiques of the fact that you are doing some work for Tanishq, but, my heart went out to somebody else, another agency which has been working on
Yeah,
Tanishq.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
but be that as it may, uh, tell me, what are your sentiments about this thing? That was my original question. How do you feel about the controversy?
So honestly, I feel for the brand. I feel for the marketing team in terms of, this is, like I explained, this is something done about, we've been working on it for the last 3 to 4 months. It's part of a much larger conversation. Something small from there has been, in a way blown up. But so I feel for the brand, but honestly, there's been also a lot of love the last few days. So I mean, the way I've programmed myself is I would tend to ignore the hate, and I think there's a lot of negativity around us. And the love has been fantastic. So you can do your own research on whether there were bots or what exactly happened there. But the love has been organic and unprogrammed, so to say. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
I think we
yeah,
all
yeah.
feel for the brand, and we all feel uh, uh, for the message that is coming. And it's really unfortunate. Uh, so, but did you, when you crafted the whole thing, when you must have suggested the idea to Ganesh, did you ever think of this as a possible problem?
Honestly, not. So we did say that, okay, there could be some conversations on it, definitely. But no, this is honestly the reality of a lot of our lives. So I am a Hindu Sikh married to a Parsi, and been so for almost 20 years now, and Parsis by religion don't allow you to marry out. So that's as, we live our Tanishq reality literally every day of our lives. So whether it be breaking a coconut and an egg, Parsis break eggs at
Right.
religious functions.
You do.
Uh, you do exactly. They don't actually break an egg like we break a coconut. So,
Right.
so literally from, I mean, my wife's god barai was celebrated in Parsi style. So honestly, this is the reality that we all live. Of course, a lot of people have called me up in the conversation we've had is that reality unfortunately seems to have changed in the last 3 4 years.
So did you have any regrets doing the ad because of the fact that it was your idea, which Tanishq obviously bought into, and
So I
landed
think it was a
landed
it
the
was
brand.
obviously an entire team out there. I think I would. So no, I've asked myself this question again and again, and I personally would do it again every time because, like I said, it's part of a larger narrative. The kind of love that we've got as a brand is fantastic. This is probably the first time that the ad club and all the advertising bodies have gone and stood behind a brand and behind the marketing team, which is fantastic. Uh, Everybody from Atul Khatri to Veer Das to Sashi Tharoor to from different walks of life is going out there and actually creating their own content and supporting the brand. Got calls from literally all over the world on this, and I think people are appreciating the stance the brand has been taking, not just now but over the years. So my heart and conscience is clear and would do this again and again and
So
again.
you
Yeah.
are saying that if there's an opportunity and if there's a brand that is willing to look at this issue of interreligion, whether it's Hindu Muslim or Sikh Parsi, you wouldn't mind taking that thing, given the fact that India is as a country has become exceedingly intolerant.
I would go one step further. I would go and say that I would always want to come from culture, and that's what we've always done as a brand. So I think conversations that come from culture, conversations that that come from things that are happening around us, are always conversations that work for brands. So I think that's been the attempt, for the last 5 6 years, whether it be at Medulla or at What's Your Problem. Talking about death was taboo in this country, and we went and created Laugh at Death, where comedians actually
Right.
made fun of death, and a lot of people in the team itself were scared as to how it would roll out. But I think the people of the country are a lot more open, and that ad, which had comedians making fun of, which had people making fun of their own death. So people who were 80 years old and 85 years old were actually out there doing stand-up comedy and making fun of death. That ad actually got appreciated like crazy. It went viral. It came on BBC Worldwide.
Laughter ad which
Uh,
made you
yeah.
cry, right? It's a laugh,
Sorry.
it's a laughter. It was a laughter ad which made you cry.
Completely. That was the attempt, but we did it. We actually had people. We had terminally ill patients. Doing stand-up comedy. And we didn't know whether they would succeed or not. Similarly, on Daily Hunt, we went and we did a campaign called Har Bhasha Equal, which actually questioned the fact. We did a social experiment that questioned the fact that, as a country and as people, do we really judge people by the language they speak? So we had people speaking about we had two people coming up on stage and speaking about an achievement, and both of them claimed the same achievement. And then we asked the audience, who do you think, was speaking the truth? Because only one of them could be speaking the truth. Who was the real achiever? And the audience, 80% of the audience felt that it was the guy speaking English, and later we revealed that it was the regional guy was the guy speaking the regional language was actually the achiever. And that conversation again had gone viral at that point of time. We did a campaign called Tota Mat Bano for last year's IPL for Daily Hunt, And that really came from this behavior of all of us, where we were just repeating what people were saying, So there was this whole fake news problem, and uh, we as a nation were just repeating what other people were saying and literally being parrots. So we did a campaign that said "Tota mat bano." So I think coming from culture is really really important, and I would do that again and again.
But, the fact of the matter is that India is an intolerant nation. We are not really able to say what we want to say. So, so did you feel let down that your creative was finally withdrawn, or were you fine with the fact that Tanishq did it because it wanted to protect its people?
So I was perfectly fine that Tanishq did it because it wanted to protect his people. I asked myself the question, and I would have done exactly the same at that point of time. A very close team. We talked to each other. I would have taken exactly the same decision. When someone when an employee gets threatened, I think nothing can be more important than their safety. So I would have taken the decision myself. And honestly, let's face it. More people have seen the ad after it's been withdrawn. So yeah, more people around the world have seen the ad after it's been withdrawn.
No, Tanishq normally sends out his communiques after every creative that's there. I
Yeah,
remember around the 1st of October, they sent out an ad on the Bengali campaign that you did
yeah.
for Tanishq. But for this, there was no communique sent. So perhaps they knew that there could be a problem with this kind of an ad.
No, actually not. I mean, from what I know, and maybe it hadn't reached you, or it was just the sheer volume of work that is coming out. So, like you said, 1st October was the Pujo ad, and the Pujo ad also was from the thought of Ikatwam. While that's in so literally we went on the fact that again, you can't get out of this problem if unless you're united. And Ma Durga is literally the epitome of being united. I mean, she's the symbol of the power of all the gods joining their power to create a weapon and to fight against the shape shifting evil. And which is the truth right now for Calcutta also. Calcutta more than Bengal more than anybody has had evils beyond just COVID, right? I mean, they've had the cyclone and they've had other issues and other conversations. So really, this is, I mean, taking inspiration from Ma Durga, we could again be united and fight the shape-shifting evil. But honestly, coming back to your question, I think there was something sent out for the teacher communication. There was a Ekatvam press conference also where the collection was launched. So absolutely,
But
there
in
was
a way, it's
there,
good that your name didn't go in the communication, or some people like me did not get the communication, because otherwise your name would have been in public, and perhaps the goons at your doorstep.
we actually took that call about so Monday is when the really the campaign was being bashed by a certain part of society. Uh, 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 by Monday evening, it was withdrawn, and a statement was issued. By Tuesday, no, sorry, I think Tuesday evening it was. No, by Monday evening it was withdrawn and the statement was issued. By Tuesday evening, we had the other part of society, the liberals questioning why Tanishq had to back down. But I think by Tuesday, we spoke to the people, Tanishq put a statement out, and people understood that. And after that, it's just been love.
So I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but you did not have to go in for some extra security at your office or at your home, etc.
So honestly, Wednesdays when I first went out there, when my CEO Tejas and in fact Tejas started it and said, "Hey, I'm going to go out there and talk about it," and he actually put up a lovely Facebook post if you'd like to see it, which is actually an apology, saying at the end of it that what I'm not sorry for is releasing the Ekatvam campaign, So that started the conversation through the WYT, and that's when I put up a post also. And yeah, so I think beyond the point, uh, you know, uh, uh, yeah, I mean it's just that we've done nothing wrong,
So no extra
So obviously
security,
there's a fear.
no
Yeah, yeah.
extra security etc., that you have had to take because just
I've just been shooting across Bombay, so I've been in Mud Island most of the time and literally been shooting. We shot some 30 films in the last 1 week, so haven't had the time. And at half the places I never had network, so I kind of escaped all of that
and
till
how
then.
did your family react to it? Did Brother Praful say, forget this, let's stick to Medulla like advertising?
No, no, not at. Medulla does a lot of bold and brave advertising too. In fact, to your point, one colleague actually called up and said, "Hey, you should change your agency name to Brave because that's the kind of work you do," and that was very, very heartening. Honestly, everybody has been fantastically supportive. So I did inform my close family members, especially people who share the same surname, and said, "Hey, this is what's happened, and this is there. I hope it doesn't affect you in any way." But my wife, supported me on social media immediately, and we've all been supporting each other. And more than that, like I said, the industry has been so supportive. People who haven't spoken to me for 20 years have called up, and more than that, been supportive out there in the public eye. So I think everybody has been fantastically supportive on this.
As a creative person, obviously something like this happening, and I know you've mentioned that you are going to go on with this, but do these kind of incidents shake you up? Do these kind of incidents make you say, "What the hell? What will people say? Log kya kahenge?" Is that a
Uh,
worry that a creative person like you have?
No, so was I shaken up and was this unexpected? Yes, it is. But I think it was shaken up by, how could this happen and then, how come, we're so intolerant as a nation? Also realize that it's not the nation as a whole. I mean, it would be unfair to generalize. And no, I think I've thought about this. I've questioned myself, and the answer is no. I think believe in this kind of work. Have always done so, and that's not going to change.
Once again, I must confess it's an unfair thing to focus entirely on the Tanishq ad. But so tell us a little more about, I know about Tanishq that you're doing a lot of work for, but you've done some very eye-catching work for Daily Hunt. What else have you been doing? There's 30 films that you've shot at Mud Island. Tell us more about other work that WYP is doing.
I think I'll go back to some time. I think WYP started off 5 years back as a purely integrated agency, and we genuinely believe what's your problem, which is the solution can come from absolutely every medium. So, like most agencies, they were geared up to think in a medium that they're comfortable with, be it films or print or thought medium first. We were very clear we wanted an agency that would be able to think clearly integrated. So we have one team. We don't have a separate digital team or a separate outdoor team or a separate activation team. We take on digital mandates, we take on outdoor mandates, we take on activation mandates, but literally have one team that's made up of people from different strengths and different learnings, and therefore, so I think obviously very early in starting Medulla and what's your not starting Medulla, but in joining Medulla and starting what's your problem. Creatively, we hit a high with being the only agency from India ever, and sad that it hasn't happened again, to win Agency of the Year at Cannes. And we did that in a way 3 years in a row. We were the top three Agency of the Year in the healthcare category. We were number three, number one, and number two from 2015 to 17. So I think creatively we really achieved what no agency has achieved in India. Uh, uh, what's your problem then took off work-wise with a lot of big brands coming to us. So while we've been a small, we were a small agency, no longer are we are now 50 plus people. We just shifted into a BKC office 2 months
Oh,
before the lockdown. Would love to have you at the office. It's quite beautiful. I'll share the pictures. It's created by someone from the Charles Korea Foundation. So been lucky to have some of the biggest clients. So we're probably the only agency that's worked for both Flipkart and Amazon. Over the last 5 years, we've worked We've taken mandates from mainline agencies, and we've also worked along with mainline agencies with digital mandates. So Chomput Cheetahs again, was one of the campaigns of the year, and the entire digital aspect of that, the social digital aspect of that, was done by us, while the main ad was done by Ogilvy. But 22,000 pieces probably on that were done by us. Amazon Mom Be a Girl again was done by us. And from then onwards, it's always been big brands. We've done work for Lenovo recently. And it's also been work that is beyond the typical. So obviously, we do films, we do prints, we do whatever is needed. But the work is beyond that. For Lenovo, for example, they wanted to talk about Lenovo standing for smarter technology as part of an international campaign. And we actually created a platform that allowed, so we worked with Experience Commerce to create a platform that allowed people to teach and kids to learn. So this is a free platform for people who probably didn't have access to paid online education. And we did this actually before the lockdown. And we had some thousands of teachers register on that platform. For Johnny Walker, we've done something really iconic that is also picked up at all the awards, which is the traveling billboard. So we actually created, so Johnny Walker's always spoken about, keep walking. But they wanted to connect with the younger audience, and the younger audience loves experiences. So we actually built a physical billboard that could travel across India. And it went to Leh Ladakh, it went to the hottest desert, it took a trek up the Joku Valley, which is the toughest trek in India. And the hoarding actually physically went underwater in the Andaman. And we had influencers travel with the hoarding and capture the entire journey, and brought alive the idea of keep walking. And that was trending for about 3 months on Instagram. For Arrow, we went out there and we actually created a campaign called Best Is Yet to Come. And we used a 84-year-old model for a fashion brand. So on 25 years of Arrow, we actually got a person who had retired before Arrow came to the country. And we couldn't dress him up then, but we dressed him up at 84 years of age, proving that your best is yet to come.
If you have to define how WYP is different from the other agencies, is there something that you would like to tell people as to how you are different from the others?
So I think to start with, we are truly integrated, and that's why, was the traveling billboard a billboard? Yes, it was. Was it Instagram activity? Yes, it was. Was it films? Yes, it was. We had films and we won for cinematography also recently. So it's all that and more, and work that will succeed in the marketplace is really work that is truly integrated. So that's one. And two is, I think we're all about the work, so there are obviously strategies equally important, and we spend as much time on what to say and then how to say also. But every person in that organization, be it Tejas, who's the CEO, or be it every junior person in my account management team, everybody is focused on the work and gets a kick out of getting that work out. So like I said, 100 pieces on Tanishq, and people have been up day and night, and we're just proud that we can push the envelope. So for Tanishq itself, we've done print ads that don't typically use models, and we've actually, had paintings made by artists and used that as a print campaign. The team is very proud of that. So I think when we pushing the envelope, doing a little beyond the ordinary is what I would define us as. Like one person said, you should change your name to Brave. So I think we truly do that work, and I also think that that's a need of the hour for every client. So I think we have no choice but to do work that that stands out, work that starts conversations. Maybe not as big a conversation as this one, but definitely I think every piece of work has to start a conversation. Otherwise it'll just come and go.
Great, Amit. It's good to see you go places. I'm going to put you into a bit of a spot, and this is something which I've not spoken to you. If you have to use a line, what's your problem? Yeah? Would you like to say something to the naysayers who are out there?
Honestly, not. Because like I again said, the love has been so much. There's actually a platform that started that is called Our Tanishq Stories, which has already collected about 200 stories of interfaith marriages. And we have nothing to do with it, but the makers actually are thinking of making it into a book. Or there are people who've told us that I'm going to be buying Tanishq jewelry, and they've gone out there, bought the jewelry, and sent us bills of the same thing. Like, this is proof that I've bought the jewelry. So honestly, no problem. Thankful to God that have a client that's a stood by the communication, the advertising, and we're going ahead with whatever we had planned, and two stood by as people.
Amazing work once again, Amit, and thank you very much for this interview. And we should speak more often, and not about controversies like these. Thank you very much.
Definitely.